Hey everyone, my name is Perry and welcome back to the cassette phase. So for today's video, I want to take a look at 10 of my favorite retro-inspired Funko Pops. And I know what you're thinking. Do people really even like Funko Pops anymore? And I'm with you. It's a collectible fad that has kind of overtaken all of pop culture and saturated the market with so many of these little trinkets. But just like with anything else, I think if it's in moderation and the right ones, I think they can have a place in anyone's collection. For me though, there has to be something unique and eye-catching about them, or they have to spark some kind of nostalgia for me in some way. So usually I don't tend to go after the pops that are based on human characters, usually. They're just not very unique looking most of the time, and sometimes it's hard to tell which character it is that they're even depicting. So with that said, I thought it might be fun to go over to the rug and take a closer look at 10 of my favorite Funko Pops from the collection. If nothing else, it'll lead to discussion and conversation about some of these great old characters and these great old properties that we loved so much as 80s and 90s kids. Feel like taking a look at some Funkos on a Friday? Come hang out. Okay everyone, welcome back to the rug. The first Funko that I want to take a look at today is one that sits behind me in all of my videos on the wall, and it's the My Pet Monster Funko Pop. Now what I like about this one is, like I said in the intro, eye-catching, right? Immediately recognizable, even from far away. And the detail on these Funko Pops is usually not very good, but that's part of like their gimmick. I wish there might have been, I think this would look better with some pupils on the eyes, but I understand that doesn't fit the aesthetic of what they're going for with these. But the rest of the detail is pretty cool. I mean, look at the teeth. And the texture of the fur. And you've even got the chains, with the handcuffs, which I think is awesome. For this next one, let's visit Springfield with the Homer Simpson Mr. Plow Pop. I just think this one is so cool. With the hat, with the flaps for the ears. And the jacket. That's one of my favorite episodes. And Simpsons Pops, can be kind of tricky. If you're looking for like the originals, like the very, very first ones they ever came out with, those I think are kind of expensive at this point. They're pretty pricey. So I'm okay with some of the offshoots, some of the variants, if you will, especially if it's from an episode that I really like this one with Mr. Plow and Plow King. For this next one, let's visit McDonald Land with our old friend Birdie. Birdie the early bird. She was always one of my favorite characters from this group. I just think she had some really memorable moments in all those old commercials from the 80s and the 90s. And this pop, I think, is a pretty good representation. They got the bright and vibrant colors. You got the goggles on the head there. And again, from across the room, you know exactly who that is when you look at it. And for me, it takes me back to the time of fun and creative McDonald's commercials. And that's kind of all I'm going for with these Funkos. So I did a video recently where I talked about the Disney afternoon. And I talked about how much I loved Tailspin, the old cartoon, from that programming block. Well, here we have Baloo in Funko Pop form. And I think he's pretty cool. The face doesn't look exactly like Baloo, but who you're looking at for the most part. What I liked about this one is the fact that it's flocked. I don't have many of these that are flocked. In fact, he may be my only one. But I thought that was pretty cool. You got the hat and everything, giving the thumbs up as Baloo oftentimes would. Yeah, ready to go fly the sea duck, right? For hire. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Good old Baloo. All right, so for this round, we're getting 3 for the price of 1 because this is one of my all-time favorite characters. From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we've got Michelangelo. And I've got a few different versions of him. So this is actually the first Funko Pop that I ever got. I can't even tell you how many years ago it was. I know it's been a while. I think it was when these things first started getting kind of popular. I was like, oh, I don't need to collect a bunch of those things, but I do want Michelangelo if I just ever see him. Sure enough, I saw him, and I've had him ever since. I think that's a pretty cool looking figure. Straight out of the cartoon, you know. Got the nunchucks there. And yeah. I think this is the first, from the very first series of Ninja Turtles that they ever did. Now this one here is meant to kind of emulate the action figure, the toy from back in the 80s. And that's a really recent one. I think that's just so cool that they did that. You know, it's got the little bit different color, a little bit different green, you know, almost like a bluish green. And then you've got the toy version of the nunchucks, which usually tended to break after a little while. Yeah, I don't have all 4 of that just yet. I probably will get them because I think they look pretty good as a set. I do have Donatello to bring him in. You can see the color difference, just like with the toys back in the day. And the white eyes. Yeah, I just think those are really, really cool. And then back to the Mikeys, we've got this 8-bit looking, you know, pixel art version, which I think is really cool. You know, it looks like they almost made a Nintendo version of the Michelangelo Funko Pop. And that one always looks really, really cool on the shelf. Yeah, little miniature collection of Funko Mikeys. So for this one, I'm kind of breaking my own rule of that I don't usually go for the human versions of the Funko Pops. But I just couldn't pass this one up when I saw it because it comes from E.T. And that is Elliot on his bike with little E.T. in the basket. Let's see if I can get you a better look here. Yeah, he's got his red hoodie on, and his jeans and the sneakers. Got the bicycle with look at the detail on the basket, the crate. And then you got E.T. hiding out, getting ready to go for a ride in the sky. Yeah, couldn't pass that one up. If it would have just been Elliot by himself, which I know they have that one too, I would have passed on it. But when you got the whole package here like that, yeah, I had to pick it up. Okay, these next ones come from an arcade classic. None other than Pac-Man, where we have 2 of the ghosts. Now, I'm probably not the best 80s fan because I don't know the names of these. Are these Blinky and Pinky? I think this is Pinky. That would make sense. But is this Clyde? I don't have their names memorized, but I just think these are so cool. You know, they've got kind of the little invisible flight stands, so when they're on the shelf, they kind of look like they're flying. I know they probably made the others, but I only ever, you know, came across these 2. They're very basic, you know, not a lot of detail here, but there wasn't a lot of detail in the actual original characters either, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think the simple design of these, instantly recognizable, great colors, the little flight stands, I think these are really cool, and they do look good up on the shelf. Now for me, it doesn't get much more nostalgic than Fraggle Rock. You know, dance your cares away down at Fraggle Rock. And my favorite character from that was always Wembley. And so when I saw him in Funko form, I just had to. Look at the tail. You know, his little Hawaiian shirt. I was always drawn to the characters when I was a kid that were like the surfers, or like the ones that wore the Hawaiian shirts, or like the party dudes, for whatever reason. Those were always my favorites. Yeah, I just think this is great. I know they made the others as well. And if I ever found, Gobo for cheap, I'd probably pick him up, or Red, especially Red. I think she's cool. But yeah, for right now, I just have Wembley. Really like him though. My favorite character from Fraggle Rock. Now this next little guy comes from one of the very first cartoons that I ever remember loving and watching regularly. And that was Danger Mouse. And I just think that this is a great little representation of that character. Pretty simple, bright white with the eye patch and the DM logo, and the belt. Instantly recognizable. Takes me back, which is what I'm going for, like I've said a couple of times now. Yeah, I remember this show. I used to just sit down on the floor right in front of the TV, kind of like we're doing right here, and that theme song would come on and I would just be so excited. And I think it had like a bomb exploding at the end on the screen, and that's when you knew you were ready for action and adventure with good old DM and Penfold. Yeah, classic cartoon, really cool Funko Pop. All right, last one for today, guys. Let's take a look at another video game character. One of my favorites, as you all know. We've got the Blue Bomber himself, Mega Man. Just really cool. Colors are perfect. I love the little details of, having his little arm cannon there. The helmet looks cool. Like straight out of the game. And I know they did some other versions of Mega Man, like his different suits. Like I know there's like an orange and yellow one. I think there might have been a green one. But did they ever do Funko Pops of the Robot Masters? And if they didn't, why didn't they? I would absolutely go for those. If there was an Elec Man or a Cut Man, or a Guts Man or a Snake Man, I think some of those would look really, really cool in this form. I think they could do a good job with those. But as it is now, I'm happy to have this guy. Looks good on the shelf. Glad it's in the collection. And there we are. So I hope you all enjoyed hanging out with me for a few minutes today here in the den. And if you did, consider subscribing. But for now, and as always, relax, enjoy life, and be kind. We'll see you in the next one.